Hello everyone and welcome to Bacon. Also welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon, Rumpel's Route, in which this time we're going to try to get through chapter 6. I'm going to have a bit of a rough time with it, besides with Rumpel. It's also because for 4.5 hours, we didn't mean for it to go that long, but for 4.5 hours, me and a friend were actually playing a dating sim that had really terrible translations in it, and we were just laughing until we were sore all over. And one character, because we were also doing some attempted really bad voice acting, one character I decided, just to be silly, to give them kind of a screamo voice. And I kind of regret that now because my throat feels torn to pieces. As what usually happens with screamo. So we're gonna try to get through this full chapter. Worst case scenario, it might be a thing where it's like, okay, my throat can't handle this anymore. You guys might have to start reading on your own. And if that's the case, you know, I do apologize. I know that there's some people out there who do prefer that I read it versus them having to read it themselves. In particular, like I have like 2 friends with dyslexia. So when I read it to them, they can kind of keep up with the video versus having to pause. And I prefer to make things as easy as possible on everyone, whether you're hearing impaired or, you know, you have an issue with reading, etc., etc. I try to make things as accessible as possible because I want you to enjoy it with me. So, yeah. If it gets to a point where my throat just feels torn up, I will either just say, hey, you guys might have to read this on your own, I'm sorry, or I'll go ahead and just stop things there. But I'm going to try to get through the chapter. And maybe I should stop talking so much so that it's more likely that I can get through the chapter. I'm sorry. I'm just as talkative in person too, which might also be another reason I lose my voice so freaking often. The last thing I'll say is that unless something new happens, I won't be pointing out all of Rumpel's craziness unless it goes up another level or unless something new happens, like I said. Or if it becomes another moment where he almost learns and then they take it back for whatever reason. Okay, let's get started. What a brilliant day. The sun is shining, the town is full of laughter, and I have my sweet princess here to accompany me. It sounds like I'm getting easier to read. No, you've just said it enough times that I memorized it. That means you must pay attention to my words. That in itself is a compliment, princess. It is not. We are on our way to the usual store to restock our medications when a small figure leaps out through the front door. She stares at us with a lost look on her face. She has an actual face, and she's pretty. Is she the healing witch? Rumpel reacts immediately, making his way over to her with a broad smile. Madame, I can't help but notice the pained expression upon your beautiful face. Is there anything I can do to assuage your worries? Immediately abandons Lucette to go hit on a woman. For seeing your lovely face shadowed by such sadness stabs me right in the heart. The woman stares at Rumpel, dumbfounded. His smile wavers and he takes a step back, suddenly looking alarmed. Oh, I'm sorry. It's you. Huh? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is awkward, madame, but I'm afraid I don't know you. What? Or do I know you? I take a step forward and look at the woman flatly. He has been cursed. He has amnesia. Amnesia? The woman stares at Rumpel, scrutinizing him. You do seem different. The fact that you know him and he can't remember you didn't tell you anything, huh? Changed from before in any case. So you knew me before. How terrible it is of me to forget such a lovely face. But perhaps you could help me remember. The usual flirty suggestion is in his voice, but the woman seems unaffected. I can help you remember. You can? It's no wonder I can't remember your name. You have the fairy tale curse, don't you? Who is this woman? She looks almost like she could be related to Karma. You truly don't remember me? I'm sorry. The woman looks conflicted, but the expression is gone as fast as it appears. I'm Bria. Your fiancé. Oh! What? Is she making crap up? Or is she really his fiancé? The shock is apparent on my face, but nowhere near as impressive as the astonishment on Rumpel's face. My fiancé? She has to be lying. How could Rumpel possibly have a fiancé with the way that he is? That's my question. But it's also been indicated when he was in that trance that he might not be this insanely flirty guy. Or at least he wasn't before. He's barely able to dedicate himself to a single woman for an hour. Bria takes a step forward and takes Rumpel's hand in her own. You don't remember holding my hands like this when you took me to the forest and proposed to me? Rumpel opens his mouth, but no words escape. He reminds me of a lost dog all of a sudden, with his eyes so wide. Bria runs her fingers over his hands. I loved you, you loved me, and I still love you very much. Something's off. Something's real off here. This reminds me of that episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch where, like, the boyfriend lost his memory, so the mean chick pretended that, oh, I'm your girlfriend. I don't remember this. How can I help you remember? Rumpel's voice is faint, but still he tries to smile. The circumstances of the curse tell me that I need to remember through memories and a journal somehow. A journal? I have your old journals. I can show you the very first love letter you wrote me. Bria starts walking, her hand clasped still in Rumpel's. I stare after them for a few moments, trying to piece together what it is happening in my head. I chase after them. Bria enters her house, one that Rumpel stares at in awe. When she comes back out, she is holding a journal. She hands it to Rumpel, then opens up to the first page. This is a little embarrassing, but there it is. You compiled your letters into a journal. Rumpel slowly reads over the words, and I notice a strange glazed look come back into his eyes as his expression grows more somber. This is like last time, when he remembered that he was a doctor. Bria turns to me as Rumpel is reading, her eyebrows arch. And who are you? His partner. Partner? We are helping each other with our curses. Oh, you're cursed too? You poor thing. What's with this look? Like she's happy you're cursed too? Bria's voice is flat. She's glaring at me beneath her smile. I have done nothing to merit this distrust from her, and I cannot bring myself to trust her either. Bria? Rumpel looks up from the journal and stares at her. Yes, sweet? Rumpel's melancholy expression throws me off. Last time he was so excited when he realized he was a doctor, but now his expression is heartbreaking. I remember. I did propose to you. In the forest, when it was dark, You set up little lights around the clearing, we spoke for a while, and then you got down on your knee and you dropped the ring. It had fallen in the roots of some tree. We only noticed it when a bird came down to pluck it out of the bramble. I had no idea what you were looking for, but I still chased after the bird. And you got the ring back, and you knew. Bria holds out her hand, and I noticed a beautiful red-green gem ring on her ring finger. Oh, that is pretty. It was still charming, though. I laughed for so long because it felt so memorable. Plucking your engagement ring out of a bird's beak. You're right. Rumpel smiles a little uncertainly. In that moment, I feel him turn away from me. He does not even realize I am there, standing with Bria. Why am I feeling so uncomfortable? You said you were helping Rumpel with this curse, yes? She turns to me. There's no worry. I can help him now. That is what couples do. I have to force the pity out of my heart. I have to force myself to think rationally. Something still seems off about this. But Rumpel remembers. Which means this is the truth, isn't it? I still feel like there's something off about that. In addition to that, I would also want to talk to Parfait and Delora first. Or at least Parfait first. Just to double check some things and see what their perspective is on this. Because as much as I don't really trust Parfait, and I don't really like Delora for the most part, Delora I'm kind of back and forth on. I've come to kind of appreciate her to a certain degree. But there are still some things, obviously, that I still don't like of her. Anyway. Good gravy. I don't know. I genuinely do not know. Okay, so the first option's usually the right one, so we'll go with ... first. This is the truth. There's nothing I can do about it. If it's not the correct one, don't worry, I'll go back. Don't worry, dear. I can help fill in the gaps for him, and his journals are at our house. You've probably already helped him by simply being there for him this entire time. Tell me, what do you go by now? Until we figure out your name, I need something to call you. Rumpel. He looks so dejected, so sad. His eyes flit to me briefly, then back to Bria. He smiles, but I know Rumpel is enough that I can tell it is a forced smile. And my partner, Lucette. She has helped me. Bria's cold gaze falls at me, and I can sense something in them that surprises me. Jealousy? Why would she be jealous of me? Rumpel, would you maybe want to come back home with me? What? I know you must be overwhelmed, but our home might be able to help you remember some things. I'm sorry. I actually have a patient somewhere else that I need to tend to. Bria's eyes flash briefly. Her frown is there for a few seconds before she smiles again. I'm sensing a yandere. You always were good with your patients. I'm sorry. It's okay. I understand that you're overwhelmed. But remember, now I am here for you too. I want to mend things, to make them go back to what they were before. That's indicative of they might have broken up. How about you look over that journal and then we meet again tomorrow? We can take this one step at a time. I would like that. We can get to know each other again, and in time I'm sure you'll remember what we used to have. I loved you. And I did too. I still do. A slight shiver runs down my spine as I stare at the two of them. There is that uncomfortable feeling once again. Bria and Rumpel agree on a spot to meet tomorrow, and then she leans up to kiss Rumpel on the cheek. He puts a hand on his cheek as she walks off with a gentle smile on her face. Are you okay? He looks at me, and for a few moments, I feel that his gaze lingers longer than it normally does on my own eyes. Then he smiles and laughs. Of course I am, Princess. I just remembered something about my own past. I'm guessing that the second entry has appeared in my journal by now. I can't wait to get back to the march and to read it. Bria has the rest of my journal, so I might truly be able to remember everything if I talk to her. Including your love for her? He sighs out before he proclaims that we should finish our errands. I follow him around the town, though the scenery lacks its usual vibrancy. This could have been genuinely heart-wrenching. If only. Rumpel doesn't speak to anyone, not even the girls, while we walk. He keeps his eyes focused on the ground. When he speaks to the shop owners, his cheer is lukewarm at best. I try to start a conversation with him many times, but he shies away from talking. I feel like there is something he is not telling me. Alright, I didn't see a crystal, so we're gonna go back. Alright. Are you sure you want to... Loading, yes. Just making sure. I am still his partner. I still feel something is wrong. I do not trust this woman. Do you know anything about him, dear? Have you helped him regain any of his memories? She was with me when I regained my memories. Lucette is a very valuable good luck charm. Should you be saying that to the person who might be your fiance? And there's the crystal, but, broski. It's kind of disrespectful to her. If she is, in fact, your fiance. Rumpel flashes a small smile at me before turning to Bria. Her eyes seem a lot colder now. Tell me, what do you go by now? Until we figure out your name, I need something to call you. Rumpel. Alright, so the rest of this I think is normal, so we'll fast forward to the next one. Yeah, okay, so the rest is normal. When we arrived at the Marchen, Rumpel quickly excuses himself, not even sharing his epiphany about his past with anyone. What has him so bent out of shape? He just regained another memory. I am assuming he is going to go read about it now. It's not like him to hide things. I hope Rumpel is okay. Alright, and there's the halfway point. Cool. It has been about a week since Rumpel regained his last memory. He has been meeting with Bria since then. But he still hasn't told me about the memory from the journal. He does not flirt with any girls, and when he sees me, his smile looks broken. He spends his days visiting Bria and tending to parfait. You're worried about Rumpel, aren't you? Walt's best boy. Why would I be worried about him? Because Rumpel is no longer able to run errands with me, Walt's decided to take his place. But Waltz's presence cannot make up for Rumpel's absence. He can't make up for it because he is 10 times better. He'll be fine, Princess. He's still figuring things out. Your best boy. I do not trust that woman. His fiancée? She appeared out of nowhere. People who aren't cursed can't find the tavern, Princess. She would never have been able to find him. So really, the only place she could have met him was out here in nowhere. I can tell that he's teasing me, but it does little to lift my spirits. I know. Walt sighs. If you don't trust her, why not just ask around for her? She obviously does not want to talk to me. No, I mean, ask others about her. So long as you find a way to phrase your intentions honestly, I think they might understand you. Rumpel says my honesty is good, but I also know that the way I speak frustrates many people. Come on, I'll help. Because you are the best boy ever. Waltz approaches the flower shop where several people are gathered to look at the fresh flowers. Excuse me, madam, sir. I was wondering if you knew anything about someone named Bria. We hear that she is engaged to a friend of ours, but he hasn't said much about her. Everyone calls me blunt, but I would never have questioned others so openly. I would. I just want to get it out of the way. Does Waltz really expect the people to be so open to him? Oh, if it isn't Waltz, doing a little investigative work, are you? But to be fair, I would have done that even if I didn't have some sort of connection in town, like people, even if people didn't know me, in which case I would have failed. Just looking to find out more about someone important to a friend. Not going to put this into one of your shows, are you? Waltz raises an eyebrow and laughs. Of course not. Everyone just trusts Waltz. I suppose he must speak to people often being a performer. Waltz is just best baby, okay? They would probably never suspect Waltz to do anything morally questionable. And yet, with me, they were suspicious of everything that I did. I guess it is a good thing Waltz is here. Everything's better with Waltz. I stifle a sigh as the so-called investigation begins. But, Bria, I was under the impression that her fiancé wasn't seeing her anymore. Bria, oh poor Bria. I hear that the poor dear made a mistake and that her fiancé threw her out for it. Is she engaged to someone new now? I'm not surprised, given that affair that she had on her first fiancé. I knew it. She had an affair. Excuse me, what did you just say? Oh, you weren't aware? I'm terribly sorry. Perhaps I shouldn't have said anything. You said she cheated on her first fiancé? She was engaged to some man, a doctor, I believe. He was a good man, always smiled, helped everyone, including the poor. I don't see how she would have had the gall to do it, but the rumors state that she was seeing another man. I think I saw them out together sometimes. He was a rich businessman. Who was he? I believe he was one of the doctor's patients. Did anyone see this for sure, ma'am? Oh, lots of people did, and that's why the poor man stopped seeing her, bless his heart. He looked heartbroken. But then the two of them were engaged, so she should have been more committed to him. When Bria first approached Rumpel, she had no idea he had amnesia. She started apologizing to him. Was it for that affair, or am I just speculating? We thank the woman for her help before continuing to ask around town for more information. The more we hear, the more certain we become. She cheated on him. Princess, I know what you're thinking, but it would be incredibly rash to tell Rumpel about this. But she is lying to him. I kind of agree with both of them. It would, like, how would you even go about phrasing that to Rumpel, and why would he believe you guys? He would just assume that Lucette was being jealous or whatever. So if you're too rash about it, it's going to lead to bad things, but he also needs to know before she continues to manipulate him. And she might manipulate him into marrying her before he gets his memories back, in which case he'd be trapped. I can still remember the sadness in his eyes. Maybe somewhere deep down he still knows. Did his journal entry not say anything? You can try talking to him, Princess, but without any evidence, we're just going off of rumors. If you were wrong, I think that would hurt the situation a lot more. I completely agree with you, Waltz. He does need to know, but we need to be able to prove that what we're saying is in fact true. Like, if this were a person that were like a really good longtime friend of mine, I'd tell them, and I'd tell them everything that I knew about it, and I'd just be like, at this point, you know, it might just be rumors, but I'm telling you because I care about you. And usually my friends, and myself included, would appreciate at least knowing that so that we could look out for signs. But if this is a person that is like Rumpel, who is very childish, very naive, very trusting, and also very stubborn about he's right, it's not gonna go well. And even with evidence, I don't feel like it would go well, just given his personality. But I don't really think anyone deserves to really be cheated on. I am forced to acknowledge Waltz's reasoning, which I'm grateful for. As much as I want to tell Rumpel right now, I do not even know where he is. We finish our errands for the day and then return to the Marchen, where I complete my chores around the tavern before retiring to bed. Later that night, after turning for hours in bed without any success of sleep, I make my way downstairs for a glass of milk. I stopped abruptly at the sound of hushed voices. Parfait and Rumpel are sitting together at a table, their voices soft. It means a lot to me that you're still taking care of me, even with everything that you have on your plate. When things are uncertain as they are right now, the little things that remain the same are actually comforting. What? No compliments tonight? Parfait, why are you pushing that? Wait a minute. He clears his throat. Wait a minute. That might act... Her pushing him to be constantly throwing attention and compliments onto her kind of goes with the several theories that I've been having about Parfait and how she's actually a pretty selfish, terrible person pretending to be good and sweet and nice. Because if she's as narcissistic as I actually think she is, even though that wasn't the creator's intentions, that's how she's been coming off, like with the things we talked about, how she purposely didn't try to stop the stories because she liked the fairies getting all the attention, being seen as the good guys and being praised and etc, etc. It's probably been a really long time since she got that kind of attention, and I kind of feel like she would be the one person who would want the constant attention and compliments and affection, just to kind of use him for that. She probably would enjoy all of that, and that's probably exactly why she not only allows it, but encourages it for her own self-worth. Or whatever it is behind why she enjoys being praised so much. Well, not praised, but complimented. Whichever way you know. Anise, on the other hand, is just... That girl's just an angel. I find no fault with Anise. At all. Why couldn't she have been one of the love routes? Lady Parfait, I always find comfort in your presence. Your heart's not in it, is it? Please don't stress yourself out trying to take care of me. I've seen the orders of the medicines and the dosages. I can take care of myself, Rumpel. I owe you and Lady Parfait for letting me stay here. Even now you could have kicked me out, yet I'm still here. This isn't the confident Rumpel that I'm used to seeing. It's rather heartbreaking to see you like this, you know? Parfait's eyes drift past Rumpel and she sees me before I can dart away. I think you're worrying your partner, too. Rumpel turns in his seat and stares at me. Princess? I slowly make my way toward them. I'm sorry, Princess. I haven't been trying to help you at all. It's fine. Parfait's right, though. It's not like you to be so pitiful. Ah, your words are still sharp as ever. I glance at Parfait curiously. The light of the tavern lights up her face up dimly, making it look more ghostly than usual. She looks sicklier. Do you think I look like a ghost, Princess? Yes. By the time night comes around, I am utterly exhausted. You said you were like this because of the Tenebrarum Lucis. You have to take care of it? That's correct. I used to be able to watch over it more easily, but now with the balance between both crystals lost in the kingdom, it's getting harder. This responsibility is a big burden. It is a heavy toll on my body. But that doesn't diminish any of my pride. I am proud to bear this responsibility. Someone needs to do it, and I am very glad I can help so many people through bearing this burden. What would happen if you just let the responsibility go? There would be even more chaos than there is now. And what of the Tenebrarum Bearer? Would they not help you with your stress? There is no Tenebrarum Bearer currently. What? Her face stares at me for a few moments, a complicated expression on her face, then suddenly she sighs. Please do not worry about me, Princess. I've lived a good life. I just want to do more good while I still live. And I'm very lucky to be surrounded by so many good people. Is this gonna be like the third route where she dies? Anyway, the two of you should be off to bed soon. I can tell you're both tired. Parfait pauses to look at me, eyebrows slightly arched. Oh, but before you go, there was something I meant to ask you. Ask me? Parfait crosses her arms and looks at me tersely for a few moments. The look is so unlike her that it almost concerns me. She looks uncertain of something, though I cannot imagine what it is. What could she want to discuss with me? I wanted to ask if you were free the day after tomorrow. I am free whenever my schedule says I am. Then you could spare 20 minutes or so. I want to speak with you about something. Very important. Important? I suppose you could say it is related to your curse. Fine. Parfait smiles at us before walking back to her room, leaving me with Rumpel. Rumpel smiles at me uncertainly. For a few moments I think he might actually talk to me, but then he rushes off after giving me an apology. I watch him walk up the stairs, my heart sinking. I need to know what is going on with him. Today is my day off. I keep on the lookout for Rumpel. Eventually I see him making his way down the staircase. He does not look quite as disheartened as last night, but his expression is still rather somber. He says good morning to everyone as he usually does, and then walks out the front door. And that is my cue. Falling behind Rumpel without being seen proves to be remarkably easy. Even if he is perceptive, he won't be expecting me to follow after him when I normally work during these hours. He makes his way through the town until he comes to a stop at a little cafe in the main plaza. It is cleverly hidden, just slightly out of view, not at all in plain view like the rest of the shops. Bria is sitting, waiting for him at a table with a journal. The way she smiles at him numbs my heart. I make my way over to the nearby fountain and crouch beside it to keep out of the view. Yeah, it's not suspicious to anyone else, just crouching by a fountain. You know, just lost my contact, that's all. I can hear their conversation just barely from where I sit. You know, I've been searching for you a long time when I saw you. You suddenly disappeared from the house one night and I couldn't find you. Really? And I hate she looks so close to Karma. Why? Why did I leave the house? I don't know. You know. It kind of begs the question of, because did they purposely make her look a lot like Karma? So that when he saw Karma, that's why he was twice as angry with him? Or something? Again, that's another element that could have really, really worked if they did it right. Was it a fight? No, not a fight. We barely ever fought. We made a promise when you gave me this ring. We promised we would never make each other sad. I close my eyes and breathe. Bria's words drive a bitterness through my heart after everything I heard. It is possible those rumors were baseless, but isn't it also possible that they were the truth? And Rumpel mentioned a fight. Now is my chance to tell him. No, honey. No. No. We're gonna reconsider. But if somehow everything that we heard was one big lie, would I hurt Rumpel? I also have my pride. I cannot just accuse someone, even if I feel that Bria is guilty of something. I step away from the fountain, meaning to head back the way that I came. Even if the situation sounds wrong, I feel that Rumpel would hate me getting involved. I am surprised then when he calls my name. Princess? What are you doing here? He saw me? Oh, and it was the correct... Thank goodness. Did he know I was behind the fountain? If I had to do another one... Oh, good. Spying, are we? I make my way over to the table to where Rumpel is looking at me with worry and Bria is openly scowling at me. Is there something wrong, Miss Partner? Not with me, but perhaps with you. Excuse me? You seem to have quite the reputation. Princess? I have no idea what you're talking about, but taking people's words at face value is foolish. Mother would have said the same thing, but why would they lie? So it is not true that you were seeing another man? How dare you? Bria stands up and glares at me. I frown back at her. Her anger does not faze me. She seems like a petulant child. I can't stand jealous girls. They are the bane of my existence. And you're what, 18? 17, but what does that even matter? Either way, there'd just be about a 6-year gap between you two. 24? Gods, am I really so ancient? Bro! 24 is not old. This suddenly reminds me of like those TikTokers that were like, hey, everyone above the age of 25, are you okay? The two of us look at him in unison, then back at each other. I'm here because I want to help my partner and because you are lying to him. And who are you to say that I'm lying? You're a terrible little spy is what you are, hiding places to watch us, going around town asking about me. I'm telling you now that Rumpel doesn't need you, especially if you're the one spewing lies. Those words have no weight coming from a hypocrite. Wait, ladies. Rumpel looks between the two of us, eyebrows furrowed. Then he shakes his head. Bria, I knew. It was in my journal. What? Rumpel faces Bria, his expression crumpled. It was that lord, wasn't it? The one I refused to take money from that one time I helped him? He told me himself. I think that's why this feeling inside of me is so mute right now. Why I was always having second thoughts about your stories. Bria, why didn't you ever tell me you were seeing him? I asked you that question back then too, but you never told me. And so I was waiting for you to bring it up again. I was waiting for you to explain. I was waiting for... As if I could ever get anything through that thick skull of yours. Then why were you trying to take him back, honey? And that's really crappy of that lord to freaking have an affair with his fiancée after he helped him out for free. Even though he's a lord, he could have taken his money. It also seems strange that the lord would bring it up to him in the first place. Maybe he didn't know that this was his fiancée, or maybe it was one of those, I wanted to make sure she was good enough for you, bro. I was trying to be a bro, but in the wrong way. Even I cannot stop myself from staring at her when she insults Rumpel, but with this, she has admitted that the rumors are true. Even if I explained myself, all you would ever say was that you were sorry, but nothing ever changed. What did I do that was so wrong? Look at you. Even now you can't bring yourself to be angry at me. You knew the truth, and instead of demanding to know why I did what I did, you keep asking what you did wrong. But you'll never realize what you did wrong, Rumpel. Never. Some things never change. Bria scowls as she makes her way around the table. Rumpel tries to call her back, but Bria only frowns as she walks off. Rumpel lets out a long sigh. And there go all of my journals, too. Right, he said that Bria had all of his old journals. I'm sorry. Huh? I only made things worse. I'm still not entirely sure what they were talking about, but... Princess, you don't have to apologize for anything, though... I would like you to apologize for shedding some light on my age. What? Am I truly, really that old? Suddenly he looks disgruntled, but the look of distraught on his face is almost comical. Cannot help it when I smile and then start to laugh. Do my ears deceive me? Is that wonderful sound coming from your mouth, princess? How precious! I admit I was laughing a little bit at that too, even though I didn't really want to. He has so much potential to be a great character, and I hope that, like, you know, there's plenty of games out there, including the Arcana, for instance, who go back, do adjustments and updates, change up whole chunks of plot just to have things make better sense, or because they weren't satisfied with how a character came out, or to even add some new routes. And that's perfectly fine. So I hope one day, and I doubt it would happen, but I do hope one day they go back and they correct Rumpel up a little bit to make him a better character, so that he is more enjoyable to be around, that he does make more sense in his actions, and that he isn't the selfish, childish, nasty person that he is in this route right now. Because, again, it's moments like this that remind me he had a great deal of potential. He's really funny, and I can see why people thought that I might like him. It's just... You're an old man. How dare you? 24 is not old. If I'm an old man, then I'm young at heart. Besides, I would be a lot more offended if you weren't smiling while you said that. After a few moments, Rumpel sighs and shakes his head. I'm sorry you had to see all that. I knew there was more to the story than Bria was letting on because I read the memory in my journal. You knew about the nobleman? Why did you not say anything? Like I said, I was waiting for her to say something. I wanted her to open up about it honestly. Bria is undoubtedly bold, but I doubt she is at all honest. The journal entry. I never read it to you. You have been distant last week. I have been, and I'm sorry for that. But allow me to enlighten you. Rumpel gestures to the chair that Bria had been sitting in, and I take a seat opposite him. The nobleman was one of my patients. He had a grievous sickness. Okay, I read that right. One that no one else had been able to cure. I kept wanting to read that as grievous for some reason. I cannot help but remember the little boy with the impossible sickness. It seemed he was drawn to Rumpel too. Rumpel was not able to help that boy on his own either. Some woman offered her assistance. Did you manage to cure him with the help of that same woman? It's another cryptic entry, but yes. The mysterious woman from the first entry reappears. We strike another deal, but I cannot remember the deal at all. All I know is that afterwards, I did something to make Bria hate me, and she began seeing the nobleman. Or maybe it was before that. Maybe she was just unhappy. She won't explain why. She still cheated on you. That is her fault, not yours. It also comes off as something that she did, and she's trying to blame it on him because she wasn't willing to elaborate. Like, why wouldn't you? If you clearly went out of your way to try to trick him into coming back to you. You still wanted to be with him. You still say and acted as if you still loved him, even if you weren't the greatest person ever. Why wouldn't you want to explain things unless, in truth, it really was you and not him? Rumpel nods absently. I can tell that he is not convinced. In any case, even though I can't remember the entirety of what happened, every time I thought of Bria, I thought of our love in the past tense. Rumpel frowns, but it is fleeting. Suddenly he is smiling again. Let's head back for now, Princess. I'll figure out how to reach Bria later. I follow Rumpel back to the marchand. Though he seems fine for a time, Rumpel's somberness returns as we head back. He looks like he is trapped in his thoughts. He needs the rest of his journals, but how is he going to get a hold of them now? I'm gonna save right here just in case. Alright. I'm still good, so we're gonna keep going. Oh, Princess, you're here. Sorry we're late. My, the princess is gracing us with her presence. Parfait said a few days ago that she had something to discuss with me, so I am here. Then let's get right to it, shall we? She plops down on one of the chairs and Parfait sits down gracefully beside her. The one time I have been wanting you around, you haven't been around, and now it's too late! Princess, the other day you asked me about my responsibility, and briefly about the Tenebrarum bearer. I did, but what does this have to do with me? It has everything to do with you. Because when it comes to that second inquiry, the answer is right here. Delora points at me. I stare at her, not comprehending. Princess, the bearer to the crystal and Tenebrarum is you. I'm not even able to feel shock, just confusion. But how do I have anything to do with these crystals? See, I told you she'd be confused. It's because we started backwards. I'm so sorry, Princess. I do not understand. You remember the story about the crystals, Princess? For a time, the crystals were in complete balance. Even the witches who drew on negative energy were respected. Then, one day, Hans wrote the fairy tales. Witches were suddenly painted as villains. Humans attacked the witches, trying to drive them out. Their leader, who just so happened to be my best friend, your so-called best friend, was hard-pressed to try to keep the peace. She was the original bearer of the crystal. But as witches were killed and thrown out, she found her patience wearing thin. She said she felt each of their deaths as if they were her own. And you mentioned that as well. So you know why her patience was wearing thin, to put it lightly, girlie. She killed a human, the ultimate taboo, and there was nothing we could do but try to stop her. This bearer, the leader of the witches and bearer of the crystal and Tenebrarum, is someone you know, or someone you knew. She erased all your memories, made you think that the fairy tales were evil, that humans were terrible. I feel something dark stirring inside of me. A sharp pain cuts through my heart, making it hard to breathe. The previous bearer of the crystal was your mother, Princess, Hildur, the leader of the witches. That is impossible. Mother was not a witch. But she was, the strongest of us all. When she died, she kept some of her power sealed within the crystal, which is why it still allows the fairy tale curse to be spread. What kind of lie is this? I cannot use magic, and Mother never told me that she was a witch. She would have told me. It sounds like it, doesn't it? But I assure you, Princess, we wouldn't ever lie to you about something like this. As impossible as it seems, you are a witch. Your power won't manifest until you're 18, and at that time you will inherit control of the crystal. Since your birthday is soon, this was the last chance we had to teach you goodness. Your mother's been shielding you from it for so long. We trusted you were different from her, and you are. We already know my whole take on the waiting until the last minute thing, so. But Mother was the only one that ever loved me. She stole away your memories and made you hate the world. Delora. She was fostering hatred in you, making you just like her. Oh, Delora. We all know. I've ranted about it in so many routes now. So many videos. About how you aren't any better. The way you approach things was just amazing. 10 out of 10. Really. You do not know anything about Mother. I stand up, rage coiling up inside of me like a snake. Lucette, I know a lot about her. More than you will ever know. No. The truth is hard, Princess, but eventually we all have to face it. Hilda was my beloved friend. Facing her was the hardest thing I have ever done. We only want to help you. Well, you're not very good at it. I turn on my heels and storm out of the room. I feel that there was more to what Delora and Parfait wanted to say to me, but I cannot stand to hear it right now. I walk into the clearing and sit against a tree, furiously rubbing at my eyes as I try to clear my dangerously watery eyes. Showing emotion is weak. I sit there for a long time in the clearing, trying to calm myself. My thoughts spin wildly out of control. Princess? I see him out of the corner of my eye, standing between two trees, his eyebrows knit together with worry. What, you were listening? Listening? No, I just came to look for you in your room, and when I came downstairs, Parfait told me you had run out into the forest. May I sit next to you? I say nothing as he walks over to me. He sits down beside me, his hands resting on his knees as he looks up at the canopies of the trees. Thank you for today, Princess, for coming after me and trying to make things right. I am not in the mood to talk about this right now. My thoughts are too scrambled. Sometimes, truths are hard. How do you know it was the truth? A feeling. Trusting people is hard sometimes. I understand. He looks at me and his eyes seem to glimmer softly in the moonlight. Would you like someone to listen to your problems, Princess? I kind of feel like we're supposed to tell him. I feel like that's... We're gonna tell him. I don't like it, but we're gonna talk to him. I rub my eyes as Rumpel looks at me with a quiet smile. He could be talking about his own problems, but instead he's trying to comfort me. Parfait and Parfait and Delora told me about something they were keeping hidden from me. They told me something about Mother. It does not make any sense to me, because everything that they are saying makes her a villain. Even villains are often misunderstood or have trying circumstances. Rumpel slowly reaches out to rest his hand on top of mine. I sit up straight and stare at him, my eyes wide. Rumpel smiles at me, a slow, soft smile that crinkles the edges of his eyes. Seeing such a beautiful lady close to tears makes my heart break, you know? But if you ever need to cry, you should. Tears aren't weakness, they're just a form of expression, even the strongest of us cry. My first thought would be, so it only hurts you because you think I'm pretty? Not because I'm a person sitting next to you in distress that you apparently care about? He was so close to developing into a decent person. Into someone whose words could be taken more seriously. So close. And all of this could have been... Because he's saying... Besides that one thing, everything else he's saying is very nice, and I agree with it. It's just a form of expression, even the strongest cry. All that stuff is really good things to say. But he's still coming off as extremely disingenuous. And it frustrates me how close he was to being an excellent character. He could have been a great character. This could have been a fun, funny, amazing, dramatic route. And they just keep falling short of it. I am not going to cry. My mind reels and then starts to feel fuzzy. Definitely the Ice Princess. Should you be freaking saying that, considering that that has been the insult that she has had to deal with since coming to the freaking march and that she does not appreciate hearing? The title startles me out of my thoughts. I stare at him pointedly, beginning to grimace, but Rumpel just smiles. And I remember the ice statue thing that he mentioned, but still, that has been used as an insult to her way too many times, and the ice statue thing was to basically say, don't feel bad about it because even this. And you just, please let the next few lines that he say not destroy one of the best lines he said. I always thought it was a delicate name, suitable for a strong and beautiful woman. Seeing you like this, it makes me realize that the name suits you. Okay, that helps a little. Perhaps if everyone else meant it that way, it would not be so terrible a title. It helps, but no matter what, you know she's sensitive about it because they've been using it as a freaking title on her. I mean, a freaking insult on her. Not a title, but an insult. Multiple times, derisively. It has not been kindly said. And like she said, if everyone else said it that way, it might not be so terrible. But don't be calling her that when you know it's being used as an insult. Rumpel slowly takes his hand away and smiles. Though he insists on hearing me out, I insist on the opposite. For now, I want to keep what I discussed with Parfait and Delora to myself. I still need time to process it. For tonight, I just want to forget that the conversation ever happened. For some time, the two of us are silent. I haven't seen a crystal. There are no words exchanged between the two of us, but the silence is comfortable. And then eventually, Rumpel puts a hand on my shoulder. Things will work out, Princess. I hope so. I stand and excuse myself. Good night, Rumpel. I turn and walk away. Good night, my sweet princess. I didn't see it. I didn't see a crystal, and it's just at the end of chapter 7. Okay, so we're gonna go back. Yes, and do the other one then. Remain silent. My problems. Why would you want to know about my problems? I understand what it's like, Princess, to have a secret stuck inside of you. To want to keep things to yourself because you're worried that someone will prove you wrong. But you can always talk to me about it. Why are you so interested in my problems? There we go. I told you before that the best thing you can do is listen to a person. That's how you learn to sympathize. Besides, I honestly care about you. I will always listen to you, Princess. Rumpel slowly reaches out his hand to rest on top of mine. Alright. Good night, my sweet princess, once again. And we are at the end of chapter 7. I made it! Be proud, everyone. I made it. Whew. Okay. So that one wasn't as bad as, say, some stuff that happened in the last chapter. And the longer video, I hope, made up for yesterday's short video. But I could not even process some of the stuff that happened in that last video. But for now, thank you guys so much for joining me. I am Bacon. And this, once again, has been Cinderella Phenomenon. Rumpel's Route. I might continue on where I do the whole chapters like this, even though they're going to be a little longer. Because honestly, I'm at that point where I just want to get through Rumpel's Route, and we still have 3 more chapters to get through. I'm excited to get to the sequels. So, until next time, bye-bye!